The love story between Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow is often remembered as one of the most talked about romances in Hollywood during the 1990s. At that time, both actors were young, talented, and quickly becoming famous. Their careers were rising, and the world was beginning to notice them not only for their acting skills, but also for their personal lives. When their relationship became public, many fans saw them as the perfect couple. They were attractive, successful, and seemed deeply connected. Their love story began during a time when Hollywood was full of glamorous relationships, yet something about their bond felt genuine and sincere. Over the years, both actors would go on to have other relationships and marriages, but the connection they shared in their early years remained an important chapter in their lives. Even decades later, discussions about their romance still attract attention, because it represents a moment when two young stars believed they had found something special. Their story is not only about love, but also about growth, timing, and understanding oneself. While their relationship eventually ended, it left a lasting emotional impact on both of them. Today, when people talk about famous Hollywood couples of the past, the names of Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow often appear near the top of the list. Their relationship showed how powerful young love can feel, especially when two people are experiencing fame and pressure at the same time. It also reminds people that sometimes love can be real and meaningful even if it does not last forever. The story of how Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow first met goes back to the mid-1990s, when both actors were still establishing themselves in the film industry. At the time, Brad Pitt was gaining recognition after appearing in the film Legends of the Fall, which helped make him one of Hollywood's rising stars. Gwyneth Paltrow was also beginning to receive attention for her acting talent and unique screen presence. Their paths reportedly crossed during early professional meetings connected to the film, where they first had the chance to interact in a relaxed and creative environment. Although Paltrow did not ultimately take a major role in that project, the encounter allowed the two actors to meet and form an early connection. Soon after, they had another opportunity to work together when they were cast in the dark thriller Say 7 On, directed by David Fincher. In the film, Brad Pitt played a passionate detective named David Mills, while Gwyneth Paltrow portrayed his caring wife, Tracy Mills. Their roles required them to share emotional scenes that explored fear, love, and vulnerability. Because of this, they spent many hours together during filming, discussing their characters and learning how to portray a believable married couple on screen. The environment on the set was intense because the movie's story dealt with dark themes and psychological tension. However, that very intensity brought the actors closer together. Spending long days working side by side helped them build trust and understanding. What began as professional cooperation slowly grew into a personal friendship. Over time, that friendship began to turn into something deeper, setting the stage for one of Hollywood's most memorable romances. As filming continued, the connection between Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow became stronger. Many people who worked on the film noticed how comfortable the two actors seemed around each other. They often spent time together even after long shooting days ended. Conversations that began about work gradually turned into discussions about life, dreams, and personal experiences. Both actors were dealing with the sudden pressures that come with rising fame, and this shared experience helped them understand each other in ways others might not have. According to later interviews, the attraction between them felt immediate and powerful. Gwyneth Paltrow once described their relationship as something close to love at first sight, explaining that there was a natural pull between them from the beginning. Brad Pitt also later shared that he quickly realized how much he wanted to be with her. Their growing closeness was not only visible behind the scenes, but also noticeable to fans and the media. As their relationship became public, many people admired the couple's chemistry and warmth. They appeared together at events and interviews, often smiling and supporting one another. Their romance felt genuine, not just like a typical Hollywood pairing created for publicity. Because both actors were still young and discovering their paths in life, their relationship carried a sense of excitement and possibility. Friends and colleagues described their bond as intense and meaningful. They seemed to provide comfort and balance for each other during a time when their careers were moving quickly and their lives were changing. For a while, it appeared that their love story was only beginning and that the future might hold even greater happiness for them both. By the middle of the 1990s, Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow had become one of Hollywood's most admired couples. Their relationship continued to grow stronger, and they spent much of their time supporting each other's careers and personal goals. Both actors were gaining recognition for their work, and the attention from fans and the media continued to increase. Despite the pressures of fame, they seemed comfortable and relaxed when they were together. Many observers believe their connection was built on genuine respect and affection. In 1996, their relationship reached an important milestone when Brad Pitt decided to propose. At the time, he was filming the movie 7 Years in Tibet in Argentina. Being away from the constant attention of Hollywood allowed the moment to feel more personal and meaningful. During this time, he asked Gwyneth Paltrow to marry him, and she accepted. News of the engagement quickly spread and became a major topic in entertainment media. Fans around the world celebrated the announcement, seeing it as the beginning of a fairy tale marriage between two of the industry's brightest stars. Shortly after the engagement, Pitt introduced Paltrow to his family in Missouri, an important step that showed how serious he was about their future together. The visit was simple and quiet, far from movie premieres and cameras. For Paltrow, it was an opportunity to see another side of Pitt's life, including the family and upbringing that shaped him. At that time, their relationship appeared strong and full of promise. Many people believed that the wedding would soon follow and that the couple would build a lasting life together. However, despite the excitement surrounding their engagement, the relationship between Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow eventually faced challenges. In June 1997, only 6 months after announcing their plans to marry, the couple surprised fans by ending their engagement. The news shocked many people who believed they were one of Hollywood's most stable young couples. Reports soon confirmed that the decision had not been sudden, but had come after careful thought and private discussions. According to sources close to the actors, there was no scandal or betrayal involved. Instead, the breakup happened because both of them were still learning about themselves and their lives. Gwyneth Paltrow later explained in interviews that she felt she'd been too young and not emotionally ready for marriage at that time. Although she loved Brad Pitt deeply, the idea of committing to such a serious step felt overwhelming. She realized she still needed time to grow and understand her own identity. For Pitt, the breakup was extremely painful. Friends described him as heartbroken because he had imagined a future with her. Despite the sadness of their separation, both actors handled the situation with maturity and respect. Neither spoke badly about the other in public, and they avoided turning the breakup into a public drama. Instead, they chose to focus on their careers and personal growth. Their story showed that even strong relationships can struggle when timing and emotional readiness are not aligned. Love alone, they discovered, is sometimes not enough to guarantee a lifelong partnership. In the years that followed their separation, both Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow moved forward with their lives and careers. Brad Pitt continued to grow as one of Hollywood's most successful actors, appearing in many popular films and becoming one of the industry's most recognizable stars. Gwyneth Paltrow also achieved major success, including winning an Academy Award for her role in the film Shakespeare in Love in 1999. Their professional achievements showed that both individuals were capable of building fulfilling lives even after their relationship ended. Pitt later began dating actress Jennifer Aniston, and the two eventually married in 2000. Their wedding became a widely celebrated Hollywood event, attracting enormous media attention. Although Paltrow had been the one to end the engagement years earlier, hearing about Pitt's marriage reportedly stirred complicated emotions. She later admitted that the moment made her reflect on their past and the love they once shared. These feelings did not mean she regretted her decision, but they showed that meaningful relationships can leave lasting emotional memories. Over time, however, both actors reached a place of acceptance and understanding. They recognized that their relationship had been an important part of their personal development. Rather than viewing the breakup as a failure, they began to see it as a valuable experience that helped them grow into the people they eventually became. More than 20 years after their romance ended, Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow demonstrated something rare in Hollywood: the ability to maintain respect and kindness toward each other. As time passed, the pain of their breakup faded, replaced by appreciation for the shared history they once had. In recent years, their friendship became visible again when Pitt appeared in an interview on Paltrow's lifestyle platform, Goop. During the conversation, The two spoke openly about their past relationship with warmth and humor. At one point, Pitt expresses affection by telling her that he loved her, a statement that reflected genuine care rather than romantic longing. The moment showed how much both of them had matured since their younger days together. They were able to speak honestly without bitterness or regret. The conversation also included memories of Paltrow's late father, Bruce Paltrow, whom Pitt had admired deeply during their relationship. This discussion revealed how closely their lives had once been connected and how those memories still held meaning. Paltrow also joked that it took many years for her to find the Brad she was meant to marry, referring to her husband Brad Falchuk. The remark was lighthearted and showed that both of them had ultimately found happiness in different directions. Their story remains a reminder that relationships can evolve over time, turning from romance into respect and friendship. Even though their love did not last forever, the connection they once shared continues to be remembered as one of Hollywood's most meaningful relationships. The passage of time often changes how people look at their past relationships, and the story of Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow is a clear example of this. When their romance first ended in the late 1990s, both were still very young and deal with the emotional shock of a broken engagement. At that stage, it was difficult for them to fully understand what had happened or why their relationship had not worked out. However, as the years passed, both actors gained more life experience and began to look back at their time together with greater clarity. They had gone through many important moments in their lives since then, including new relationships, marriages, and personal challenges. These experiences helped them grow and mature as individuals. Instead of remembering their past with sadness or regret, they slowly began to see it as an important chapter in their personal journeys. Gwyneth Paltrow often spoke openly in interviews about how young she had been during their relationship. She explained that she was still learning about herself and did not yet have the emotional readiness required for marriage. Looking back, she understood that the breakup had been the right decision, even though it had been painful at the time. Brad Pitt also seemed to share a similar perspective as he matured. With time, both of them developed a deeper understanding of how life experiences shape people and their choices. Their story demonstrates that relationships do not always end because love disappears. Sometimes people simply grow in different directions or need time to discover who they truly are before they can build a lasting partnership. In that sense, their past romance became less about heartbreak and more about personal growth. Another reason their story continues to interest people is the unique place both actors hold in Hollywood history. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Brad Pitt became one of the most recognizable actors in the world. His performances in films like Fight Club and Ocean's 11 helped establish him as a versatile performer capable of playing many different types of characters. Meanwhile, Gwyneth Paltrow continued to build a respected career, balancing major film roles with more personal creative projects. Her Oscar-winning performance in Shakespeare in Love showed audiences that she was more than just a rising star. She had become one of the most talented actresses of her generation. As their careers developed, both actors experienced the intense attention that comes with global fame. Every new film, relationship, or public appearance was closely watched by fans and the media. Because of this, their early romance became part of a larger cultural memory connected to Hollywood during that time. Many people who followed entertainment news in the 1990s still remember the images of them attending events together, smiling, and appearing deeply connected. Their relationship represented a moment when two young stars seemed to have found both professional success and personal happiness at the same time. Even after their breakup, the memory of their romance continued to be discussed in interviews, articles, and documentaries about Hollywood history. For many fans, their story symbolizes the excitement and glamour of that era in the film industry. As the years continue to pass, both Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow entered new stages in their personal lives. Brad Pitt went on to have several high-profile relationships, including his marriage to Jennifer Aniston, and later his widely discussed relationship with Angelina Jolie. Each of these chapters attracted enormous media attention and shaped public perceptions of his personal life. Gwyneth Paltrow also moved forward, building relationships and eventually marrying television producer Brad Falchuk. Alongside her acting career, she also developed her lifestyle brand Goop, which became a major part of her professional identity. Through these new experiences, Both actors built lives that were very different from the one they once imagined together in the 1990s. Yet despite the changes in their personal journeys, they never seemed to hold bitterness toward each other. Instead, their comments about their past relationship were usually thoughtful and respectful. This respectful attitude is somewhat rare in the entertainment world, where breakups between famous couples sometimes lead to public arguments or negative headlines. In contrast, Pitt and Paltrow seem to treat their past with honesty and maturity. They recognize that their time together had been meaningful even though it did not last forever. Their story became an example of how two people can move on with their lives while still appreciating the memories they once shared. One of the most touching moments that showed this sense of mutual respect occurred during a conversation on Gwyneth Paltrow's platform Goop. When Brad Pitt appeared for an interview, the two spoke openly about their past relationship in a relaxed and friendly way. The discussion surprised many fans because it felt sincere and natural rather than awkward or uncomfortable. During the conversation, Pitt expresses affection by saying that he loved her, a statement that carried emotional weight because of their shared history. The remark was not meant to suggest a romantic reunion, but rather to acknowledge the bond they once had and the respect that still remained between them. For many viewers, this moment highlighted how much both individuals had grown over the years. They were able to talk about their past without regret or resentment. Instead, they focused on gratitude for the experiences they had shared and the lessons they had learned. The conversation also included memories of Gwyneth Paltrow's father, Bruce Paltrow, who had been very fond of Brad Pitt during their relationship. Pitt spoke warmly about him, showing that those family connections still held meaning decades later. The moment reminded audiences that relationships often leave behind lasting emotional ties, even after the romance itself has ended. Today, the story of Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow continues to capture people's attention because it reflects many universal themes about love and life. Their relationship began during a time of excitement and youthful energy, when both of them were discovering their paths in Hollywood. They experienced the thrill of falling in love while also facing the challenges of fame and public attention. Although their engagement eventually ended, the way they handled the breakup showed a level of maturity that many people admire. Instead of allowing bitterness to define their story, they chose to respect each other and move forward with their lives. Over time, their memories of that period softened into something more reflective and meaningful. They both acknowledged that the relationship played an important role in shaping who they became as individuals. In the end, their story reminds people that not every love story needs to last forever to be important. Sometimes the most meaningful relationships are the ones that teach valuable lessons about growth, timing, and understanding oneself. Even decades later, their romance remains a fascinating example of how love can influence people's lives long after the relationship itself has ended. Looking back today, the relationship between Brad Pitt and Gwyneth Paltrow can be seen as one of those rare Hollywood romances that change both people in lasting ways. At the time when they first fell in love, they were still learning how to live in the public eye. Fame had arrived quickly for both of them, and the pressure that came with success was something neither had fully experienced before. When young actors suddenly become famous, their lives change in ways that are difficult to control. Their personal relationships often become topics